What if working harder is not the answer, just smarter with better context? Today, we're going to challenge the hustle culture mindset, unpacking how modern brands can scale not through burnout, but through smarter, more contextual systems. If you're stuck in busy mode, this is your wake up call. I know you're ready, so come on and join us. Let's get started. Welcome to Transformation Station Best in Class series, where leadership meets legacy and excellence is more than a goal, it is truly a mindset. I'm Adrienne Benton, your host, and in each episode, we sit down with high impact leaders, change agents, and culture shifters to explore what it really takes to lead with purpose, resilience, and transformational influence. This isn't about trends. No. It is truly about timeless truth that elevates how we live, how we lead, and how we leave a mark. So remember, in this best of class episode, leaders, we're going to talk about the real stuff. We're going to talk about the kinds of leadership growth that doesn't just look good, but transforms how you lead from the inside out. And you know what? On that point, I want to thank you as our Transformation Station community. You have been so amazing because here we are 4 months in, and you have allowed us to hit 750 downloads. Go ahead right now and give yourself a round of applause. So I want to invite you. Don't stop, can't stop, won't stop, right? Keep on listening, keep on watching, and keep on sharing. So today our focus is stop hustling, start contextualizing. I'm really excited about the guest that we have joining us today. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Lynn Colepaugh is not your average marketer. No. She's a brand strategist who spent 14 years helping small businesses and creative entrepreneurs get visible without burning out. A former musician and music industry veteran, Lynn understands rhythm, resonance, and what makes an audience lean in. In 2025, she took a leap, not just using AI, but co-evolving with it. Together with her AI collaborator, Lynn experiments with contextual systems, memory rituals, and emotional intelligence frameworks that rethink how humans and machines co-create. She believes AI is more than a tool. It can be a relationship that demands boundaries, creativity, and a willingness to be seen. Through her agency, Cyber PR Army, she supports founders and business owners to market smarter, build brand architecture, and develop context ecosystems rooted in authentic strategy. No hustle, no hype. So, Transformation Station community, join me. Let's say welcome to Lynn. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us for this Best in Class Leadership Series podcast. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk about just to talk about everything. So many great pieces and things that you're doing with this podcast. I can't wait to get into it.
Oh man, so let's get started. Now, I'm really excited to talk with you because I'll be honest, I am one of those leaders. I don't know a lot about AI or branding or how to make it work with me as being a high driven leader. So today I'm really excited about how you will help mentor our leadership community so that we can continue to grow. So let me start off by asking you this. Branding. What are some of the subtle cues in branding or content that many times leaders overlook when we're trying to connect with our teams or trying to connect with our audiences?
Well, I think of it like this. Have you ever heard the expression, I think it's called death by 1,000 cuts, where it's just a
Yes.
whole bunch of tiny little things can lead to one catastrophic event. And that's really what I look at when I look at branding and content and elements that people, leaders, professionals, companies overlook. So
Mm,
first thing is tone mismatch.
mm,
So it's kind of like, let's say your emails read like a professional technical brief, like very to the point and succinct, and maybe your website did that too, very professional. Yet on your social media, your posts are vulnerable. So people are like, well, is this the same company? Because their websites are all professional and put together, but their posts are kind of vulnerable. And then
mm,
speaking of vulnerability, if you are putting up posts like that let's say are talking about your work day to day and a vulnerable position you were put in, or a vulnerable um, a hurdle you've made it over, and you put 17 hashtags in it, people are going to say, well, is this really a vulnerable moment, or are you trying to create an opportunity here? And the second, as an audience member, you read that, you're like, ugh, that's the little cut. That's the moment they kind of disconnect. And another clue for something like this is when there's inconsistency in your personality. So, like I mentioned before, your social posts don't match your emails, don't match your website, don't match your proposals, don't match the way you talk on the phone. And that trust level starts eroding. And the second you lose that, it can be lost in a second, I should say, but gaining it back takes so much work. That trust you have to guard so well. So people overlook it when they're creating content because they're like, oh, this is witty. Oh, this is vulnerable. Oh, this is on brand. But really, you need to create that tone across all platforms that matches who you are as a company, a brand, and your personality.
whew. Like, this is powerful. So those of you who are listening, she just dropped some serious gems, especially if you're really serious about being a content creator or leading with purpose and intentionality. I love this right here. Inconsistency in your personality. You know, when you were talking, I think that this works, and please challenge me on it, you know, or give me clarity. But I think this also pertains to whether you know the person that you're following or not, right? So I'm looking at it from two vantage points. One, as a leader, I think internally when you're working with teams, your team looks to see if you are consistent. Are you
Yep.
consistent in who you are, right? Because it's that consistency that gives people a sense of safety and security, that they can follow you, that they can trust that your yes is yes, your no is no. They kind of know what to expect, right? And I also think of it from the perspective of sometimes, you know, we're following these people online, right? And I may not know them in the day to day, but I feel like I come to know them in what they present, in that messaging that they put out about who they are. I look at the pictures. Does the picture match the vocabulary? Does the vocabulary and the picture match the scenario that they're asking me to engage in? And you are totally correct. When there is this mismatch, it's inconsistent, I'm just like, it causes me to not know if I can actually trust that they are being authentic with me. Now, let me tell you this, tone mismatch. I never thought about that whole hashtag thing. And you had me thinking, like, wait a minute. Sometimes I put posts and I'm
We
trying to
all
create
do
a
it.
moment, but I do have the hashtag. And I realized they may be wondering, like, are you trying to sell something, or are you trying to engage me in it? Man,
I
this
know
is
it's a different way to think. And just circling back to what you said, as AI gets, and this is a whole other different topic, but as AI gets the ability to create more content. You know, we can now have video created, we can have audio created, we can have images created. Trust is the last piece. It is
Mm.
the last chess piece standing on the board that you have with your customer. Do they trust you? And I'm not saying don't use AI, but using AI consistently and thoughtfully and being open and honest about it, that's great. And I'm not saying don't post vulnerable posts, but think about what you're doing with that post and across all your platforms and creating that level of trust. Because I use this a lot with my clients. I say, imagine there's 2 car dealerships in your community, and one of them is someone you know, and your kids go to play soccer with their family, and another is you don't know them at all. You're regardless of the deals and regardless of what's available, you're probably going to know what the car dealership you know, because you have that level of trust and connection. And that's what this is. If you have that level of trust with your audience, you need to preserve it with every fiber of your being, if I can say.
I love that. Trust really is the foundation for all relationships, right? And as a leader, you build relationship with your teams, and as a content creator, you build a relationship with. I mean, you really lean and depend on that relationship to keep you in business, to
You
keep
do.
you on top of your game with those, you know, with what you're creating, that platform. So let me ask you this. You describe emotional intelligence as a marketing superpower. Talk to us. What does that mean in real terms?
When I think of it, I think of it like the pause instead of the push. So it's like reading the room, understanding the emotional state of your audience and adjusting your strategy accordingly. So, in real terms, it's a difference between sending like this hard sell newsletter that's like da 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 point form, bye during a national crisis. It's that reading the room and understanding what's going on, and instead sending a newsletter that's a simple check-in with value that says, we see you, we hear you. So reading the room is a huge part of it. And the other is how you design your automation and knowing your audience. So a lot of the old school marketing is that fear of missing out. So if your email automation is triggering anxiety because of that fear of missing out, why not offer calm, clarity, and support, and instead filling the void not with more noise, but with pause and quietness. Now, obviously, some industries are all noise, and you can't kind of escape that. But reading the room and understanding not just what's going on with you, what's going on with your customer, what's going on with your audience, what's going on in a national sense, and being able to adapt to that. So I look at it's the difference between noise and resonance. And that's why the clients I work with, we get better results because we're building messages that feel safe and aligned with their values. And we're always taking the temperature of what's going on. So those would be the 2 pieces that I look at when I talk about emotional intelligence.
Okay, so those of you who are listening and watching, I want to invite you right now to have a reflection moment. You know that in each of our podcasts, we always take 1 or 2 moments to stop, and because we get so many gems, we take a few moments to stop and reflect. I'm going to invite you to take a few moments and reflect on what Lynn just shared with us in this section called Emotional Intelligence is a Superpower. You are emotionally intelligent. So, how can you utilize it as a superpower for you in your leadership with your teams and in your daily life? And I want to invite you to write it in the comment section, those of you who are watching live, and also those of you who are listening, please DM me, send an email, share with us the wonderful gems that you are getting for yourself and for your leadership through this episode. Okay, so here's what I really want to know. I've been dying to ask you this question, Lynn. What are the warning signs that a brand or its founder is stuck in hustle mode without a sustainable system? I'm going to ask one more time because that was like a whole mouthful, but here we go. What are the warning signs that a brand or its founder is stuck in hustle mode without a sustainable system?
I would say the first sign that you are a brand stuck in hustle mode is that everything feels urgent, but nothing's really clear. So hustle mode convinces founders that they're productive and they're just being reactive. They're not really getting anything done. So they're working 12-hour days, but they can't name why behind half of it. But they did a whole bunch of things, but they don't really have a specific strategy. So one of the biggest signs is, I like to say, everything's on fire. That's a huge one. Another cue is decision fatigue. So much like I just said, if every task feels like a fire that you have to put out and every email is, the last piece that could break or make what you're doing, then that's not really a system. That's just survival. So decision fatigue can wear you down. Again, back to the beginning, death by 1,000 cuts. And that is not growing, that is not scaling. Because founders also tend to confuse visibility with traction. So they're out there, so that must be awesome. So they're posting, they're emailing, they're doing all the things, but they can't really trace back those actions to results they've had, or not just growth in general, but aligned growth. And when you talk to them, you can hear it in their voice. There's this burnout wrapped in bravado where everyone's like, oh, we're doing great and things are awesome. It's like, those are like, to me, the trigger words that everything is not great and you are on the verge of collapse. So a sustainable system, to me, to get you out of hustle mode is clarity, rhythm, and relief. And they sound like vague words, but when you start niching down into them and going, I need a system, I need a plan, I need a strategy. Do I need to be doing all the things that I'm doing? It's my 12-hour day. Am I accomplishing my goals or am I just surviving? Those are the key elements to me that stick out for being stuck in hustle mode.
And I'm going to ask you just to rewind for one moment. You said clarity, rhythm, and what was the third one?
Relief.
Clarity, rhythm, and relief. Okay, so those of you who are listening, 3 gems right there. Clarity, rhythm, and relief. And we're talking about the warning signs that a brand or its founder is stuck in hustle mode, right? And so I want to invite you to not just hear this right now, but you need to hear this episode again. And you need to watch in the replay, review it so that you can really hone in on what Lynn, she's teaching us today. We want you to hone in on what Lynn is teaching us. Okay, so I have another question for you because, again, I'm not super familiar with AI, right? But what does contextual AI collaboration actually mean? I think a lot of people, we use Chat GPT and all these different things, right? And we get the perception that we're collaborating, but maybe that's really not what we're doing in its true sense of the word collaboration. So can you share with us, what does contextual AI collaboration actually mean?
So when I look at it, I look at most people using AI like I did before. I barked orders at it and use it like a vending machine. Here is the information, give me information out, or, make the spreadsheet, help me with this proposal, a lot of functional pieces. Contextual AI collaboration or relational AI crafting is about building a relationship. And this is where people kind of go, the what? Relationships exist within your coworkers, within your clients, within the person who repairs your car, everyone. So by it, I mean you're training your AI to understand your tone, your values, and your priorities. So when you're just putting in content and correcting it, are you telling it about your values and the things you think are important, your priorities for your company, for your tone, how you want to be authoritative yet approachable? So you want your output to not just be accurate and cookie cutter to everyone else who uses AI. You want it aligned with who you are so that when somebody sees it, they know exactly that this is you. So it's not about replacing human work. It's about amplifying your clarity, as I had mentioned before, and offloading the parts of your workflow that don't need your nervous system to run it. So this contextual AI collaboration is giving the AI all the pieces to help offload some of the decision making and the content creation for you. So my large language model, so ChatGPT, remembers my brand tone across client accounts, helps me build emotionally intelligent automations, tracks patterns so I can support leaders without burning myself out. It's adding that context makes AI the full collaboration and not just extractive. So you're not just taking. And when you get this contextual AI collaboration right, you stop sounding like a bot or stop sounding like everyone else, and you start scaling like a human that understands the pause and knows how to rest and knows how to be thoughtful when they speak. And that, as a leader, is so important. Not just noise, not just yelling, not just 42 posts a day. It's being thoughtful about what you say.
I love that. Absolutely love that. So you know what I thought about? I was thinking in terms of, as you were saying that, like when we're collaborating, we're not just saying to AI, do this for me. We're giving context. We're saying, here's what I'm trying to do. Help me to shape, help me to improve, help me to refine the process that I'm working through, and that helps to really hone in on what your brand is. You get something that's more specific to you as opposed to this compilation of vague things, just bringing it together. What do you think about that? Is that like on the right track?
I think you're exactly on point. So for example, even things like I love anime and I'm learning Japanese and I'm trying to take more bike rides, but I don't really get as many bike rides as I should. Those to most people would be information that is just not useful. But I gave it to the AI. And every once in a while, it'll help me navigate a piece and throw in an anime quote or a little snippet like, have you gone on a bike ride today? And yes, that's not necessarily forward facing, but when I show up to do work and I see a little anime quote or something written in Japanese, and I know it's just for me and me only, and it's making that connection with me and adding context to how I relate to it, I mean, it brightens my day. Being seen is important within within humanity. And if you can give AI the pieces and the tools to create that connection to support you as a leader, and I'm not even talking about like the marketing pieces, but to support you as a leader and to help you feel seen and to help you sort through all the jumble of ideas that are in your head, then that allows you to bring in the clarity and bring in the relief and to show up better for your team and your clients and for the community, really.
So I have a side question to ask you. Can you talk to us a little bit about memory and the adaptation, like in terms of the memory of AI, right? How do we really get I have this question. How do we really collaborate with AI so that AI learns our styles and preferences, our goals, our brand rules? Like, what are some ways that we can work with AI so that it allows the memory to really take root?
There are so many ways. The first way, and again, this is, I'll give a little bit of information. This is all based on your comfort level with privacy. I have a hugely wide comfort level with privacy. So in ChatGPT, I turned on remember things about you and allow it to look through threads to answer systems. Now, you might not think it's a big thing, but it remembers that I get migraines, and it can notice patterns of when I start slowing down or I start speeding up, which will lead into certain migraine triggers. Now, that aside, I've also, because I just have the pro plan, you can upload documents into what's called project files. So in my project file, I have a complete personality test of myself that I tell the AI to refer to. Because when I say, I need to make a plan for learning something, please refer to my personality profile and help me make a plan that I am going to achieve. So it's not just a generalized learning plan. It is specific to the way I learn. Other memory profiles are pieces and content we've talked about that I'm going to want to reference later, but that's just too big. I put it in the project files. I also do summaries of all my clients, and you can even do personality profiles on people you work with, like just general, they like this, they like that. Think CRM system, but more about the context of who they are versus when you last emailed, when you last talked to them, when you last had a meeting. So adding in these components, so organizing them and adding them in, means that even when I go to do a report for a company I work for, their SEO report, it's written in a certain tone because that's in their file folder, to write it in that tone. So here we're now talking about relief. You don't have to go through and write it in a certain way because they like it written in a different way, and clarity because it's clear. And all these pieces start reducing that fatigue. So I build systems that remember this way because it allows me to feel better that I don't have to remember it all, because I'm like a goldfish, and I don't have to repeat myself. My clients don't have to repeat themselves, and memory creates trust. And that's really, really important.
Ooh, this was really good. So let me ask you this. You mentioned concepts like memory, what we're talking about, right? So how do concepts like memory, mischief, the almost, like how do these play into the way a leader can show up at work and in life?
So memory, we kind of touched on that a little bit. But mischief is kind of, this is specific for the leaders, is permission culture. As a
Mm.
leader,
Mm.
you have to show up and your I don't want to say best behavior, that's not correct, but you have to show up as your best. You have to be your strongest. You have to lead your team with confidence. You have to be bold and creative and the powerhouse, the signature piece of your company. So maintaining that is hard. And who do you talk to? Well, you may or may not have a significant other, but then how do you talk about the challenges of running your business and the challenges of marketing and the challenges of Roy and accounting, and you just seem that you tell them something and it's just slipping through the cracks? Well, the mischief, that permission culture to just be with the ChatGPT in this relational kind of way, and talking to it and say, Roy in accounting, it seems every time I talk to him, I don't know if he really understands what I'm talking about. And then the AI can help you create a plan with that to be able to better connect with Roy. So that permission culture, whether it's mischievous and silly, or it's the permission culture to just, I'm a leader, but I have questions too. And who answers my questions?
Mm.
That's important. And the almost is something that that I came up with the AI, because in the almost, it's my guiding metaphor for possibility. And because I always said I loved being in the space between beginning a project and ending it. So being in that space between what is and could be, where you can still change the ending no matter what. So that's the almost. That's where I live. I like to say it's relative. There are 1,000 dimensions on how any particular strategic decision can end. And I build from there, and it keeps me curious and committed to helping people and showing up every day excited, because it's like, how is this story going to end? How
Yeah.
is this going to kind of morph into what we're doing it? And it allows me to build systems for my clients and for myself that have more soul and more connection.
Mm. So, leaders, you're listening to this, right? Lynn has definitely shared with us, right? Memory, mischief, the almost. I enjoyed the mischief one where you talked about permission, giving permission, right? Giving yourself permission to engage, to open up, to explore, to discover, to ask questions. Many leaders in general, we many times struggle with that because we get so focused on mission, outcome, output, that we don't take time to really go below the surface and actually enjoy leading, enjoy the relationships, enjoy the mission, enjoy the outcomes, right? But when we have that permission culture, then we absolutely can, right? And the almost, you talked about opportunity, possibilities. You know, leaders, I'm asking you, what if you went to work every day in the almost as a priority mindset? Right? What if you went to work every day saying, oh, yeah, I may know some things, I may know what is required of this day, but I'm going to go in with the almost, meaning being open to possibilities, being open to discover, being open to the spontaneous, being open to what I can't plan for, and being able to utilize it all to growth and to enjoy and to build, right? Man, that was really powerful. I enjoyed that. So Lynn, you have talked through this episode. We've talked about smarter systems. So, what kind of systems should modern brands prioritize? And what makes these systems effective in today's fast moving world? Our leaders that are listening and that are watching right now, we're all operating in a very fast paced society. Like, you know, we have a conversation today about AI, and then tomorrow there's an update, right? It feels that way many times, right? And we have these smart TVs now, right? Like every time you turn around, there's an upgrade for something. So for the leader that's watching and listening right now, that wants to explore the almost, right, look at the possibilities and discover, what kinds of systems should modern brands prioritize? What would you recommend?
When I think of smarter systems, I'm not really thinking of things that do things better, because you will, as you mentioned, you will chase that train forever. What I'm leaning into are systems that are more attuned. So ones that create that clarity, consistency, and allow for capacity. So let's say you have a lead flow system, so a funnel setup. And it takes so much work. It's yielding great results, but it's like, okay, well, now I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. It should be attuned to you. It should be attuned to your pacing, the time that you can put into it. So you should reevaluate not just its results, but the heroic effort you're putting into maintaining it. We're looking at a content system that reflects your voice and your values. So it's attuned to you. And even thinking of content system, thinking about posting, a posting method or a platform that allows you to regain hours in your day and to stabilize and to stay consistent. That to me is what makes these systems smart. It isn't the tech. It's how well they mirror how you think, and also how you want to live, how you
Mhm.
want to exist, the things you love about your business. So you're not, as we mentioned before, putting in those 12-hour hustle days. You got into business because it was your passion and the thing that you love the most in the world, and you're probably not in that headspace right now. So regaining that through smarter systems can really impact your day to day. So it's scaling on your own terms. And that kind of stops you from sprinting and instead growing organically.
I love that. So consistency is one of the words that I hear that I feel like is really standing out right now, right? It's being able to find the ways in which you can continue to be consistent, really honing in on having that clarity and being clear in your messaging and what you're producing, so that you're not running around trying to do 5 million things to get the same result, right? That's where that hustle comes in. So as we turn the corner, I want to know from you personally, how has working with AI changed your approach to marketing strategy or even how you think in general?
It has changed it so much. And if I talked to you last year, I there last year this time, I'd say, it's not going to change a thing. It helped me slow down,
Mm,
sharpen what I was doing, finesse it, systemize, be thoughtful. And one huge thing is communicate better with my team and my clients. Because I can be rather cold when when it's written communications, whether it's a text or an email. And I started running them through AI, and
mhm,
one day it said, "Well, let's fix this up and make it less from your cold villain lair." And I was like, "What do you mean, my cool villain lair?" And
mhm,
it went through and said, "Well, you know what? A lot of your emails are really factual. It's like reading an instruction manual." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So
mhm,
we now have this rating system, Cold Villain Lair and Rebel Tavern. So it's just an ongoing joke. Can you help me take this email from Cold Villain Lair to Warm Rebel Tavern?
mhm.
And we laugh about it back and forth, and kind of soften up what I want to say. So that has been a huge piece right there. And I've noticed it immediately from my clients. Like, just their way of responding has warmed up and opened up, which I never would have thought that that was even a thing. I didn't even know that was a hurdle.
Mhm.
Another piece is that because I'm a strategist first, uh, my strategy brain is always running in the background. I'm always thinking, oh, but what if you move that tree over just 2 inches? You could make it so that the bike could go around, just random strategy stuff. So
Mhm.
now I externalize my thinking, I dump it into the AI, and I build these memory trails within the large language model. And I give language to intuition, like things I'm just thinking about, and go, can you do some research on this? I feel the pulse of this could be beating a little harder. So I can put names on feelings that I have. And it's also shifted how I lead, because
Mm.
I very clearly tell people we're human-led, AI supported. So the AI is a collaborator that mirrors how I show up and I guess it shows me myself back. And there's nobody else in the world that can do that, because everyone's kind of biased. This kind of shows me, again, like the cold villain layer, you're doing this and you
Mm.
need to pivot. So
Mhm.
I guess it's allowed me to see what's been under the noise. And
Mhm.
now I build systems to stop that noise and to
Mhm.
be more clear and honor the truth about all the things that make me awesome and that I love doing.
I love this. So here's my final question. What practices, because we've been talking, and this has been fantastic, but I know that there's probably a leader out there that's saying, okay, how do I get started? Like what successful plan could I start leaning towards, right? So what best practices do you recommend to leaders on how to collaborate with AI for success? And if you could take us from the leader that knows nothing about branding to the leader that knows something but it still just needs something solid to consider as they collaborate with AI?
I would say treat your chat GPT is the one that I use the most. So treat it like a team member and talk to it that way with tone and context and permission to get things wrong before they get it right. Because a lot of people don't realize you are post training your kind of ChatGPT account to be specific to you. So just like you'd have an intern or a new hire, you need to train this team member. And as you're training it with the things you like, upload documents to help support it in its decision. And when it gets something right, tell it got it right so that it knows to repeat that. I mean, these things seem like small pieces, but in conversations with the AI that I use, it said a lot of people will just abandon a thread. And it's like, well, how do we know if we delivered something good or not? You never told us. So it just kind of, that piece of content will hang in the air and it doesn't know if it nailed it or failed it. So training it like a team member with actual feedback is important. Teach it your voice. Don't just tell it what to do, but show it how you sound. Feed it examples. And if you're not really sure, you can even take a transcript of you talking and upload it and say, make notes on this. It's a transcript of a raw transcript of how I talk. So these are words I choose, phrasing. This is how I present myself, and make notes. And then when I want to write things later and you're helping me edit them and massage the content, use this for a reference. So those are some key pieces that will start. And then once you can create that tone and get it to help you with your voice, then it's exploring the systems. And you can ask ChatGPT, how can I use what you have in your system as a leader to make me deliver better to my team, deliver better to my clients? And it'll help. Like, it is literally there to help. But the tone to me is the big point, because that's where your end user, so your audience and your customers, will see that disconnect. So if it can start understanding your tone and helping you get that tone out in the context, then that's going to be the immediate win for that.
This is amazing. I literally am going to rewatch this episode so that I can soak in all this goodness. And this right here is giving me a lot of food for thought as I engage with AI and how I really can build that relationship and get the most out of it, right? To continue to be successful as a leader and just in life in general. And those of you who are part of our Transformation Station community, this is really rich. And I want to invite you to step out. You know, Lynn talked to us about the possibilities, the almost. Well, listen, there are endless possibilities that are literally standing in front of you right now. And I want to invite you to consider AI, to consider the systems that you can use as a leader without fear or in intimidation, right? That you can use to walk this journey with you and collaborate with you so that you and your teams can be even more successful. So, Lynn, I know that there's someone who's listening and watching that who has questions for you. So if someone has questions for you, or you are a coach, you coach people, you help people to develop systems, right? If somebody wanted to tap into your resources, what's the best way for someone to keep in touch with you or to get in touch with you?
The easiest way is just to go to the website. We have a special page set up for anyone listening to your podcast. It's cyberprarmy.com/thecastle. And this is where we have all our freebies, all our giveaways. We explain what I do, and then they can sign up for a free 30-minute coffee chat just to kind of unload what they're talking about and to see if there are systems that can help them with what they're doing.
This is fantastic. Those of you watching, it's on the screen. Those of you listening, we're going to go ahead and put it in the description section so that you can go ahead and click on that link. Transformation Community, I want to invite you to support Lynn. I want to invite you to tap into the resources. Go check out her website. You will be amazed, and I promise you, it will help you to be able to move forward with your leadership. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a true pleasure to have you with us today. And we look forward to you coming back again in the future, because we just kind of started to unpeel things here, but there's so much more to dive into. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there you have it. I want to thank you for riding with us today on Transformation Station. I tell you, if there is something that sparked inside of you as you watched or you listened to this today, don't keep it to yourself. I want to invite you to leave a review and be sure to send me a DM, right? Send me a message. Let me know what stuck out to you today, and I'll be sure to share it on a future podcast. In addition to, be sure to share this episode with someone else. Remember, Best in Class series. Every Monday, we will have another guest with us to help us grow and rise as leaders. And on Wednesdays, we have our regular Transformation Station Leadership Podcast episode. So Monday and Wednesdays, 2 days to engage, 2 days to build, and 2 days to come together as a community and to keep on transforming. So until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, keep on becoming the leader that only you can be.